Looks like it's buffering. If you can hear me, it's Charlotte Thornton, and it's the mini mindset masterclass. Good afternoon, happy Monday. The mindset minis are here. Charlotte Thornton, give me a shout out. Let me know if you are here. And we are going to be talking about emotional freedom. Freedom from your emotions. Cool. Lovely. Just checking in, seeing who's here. It's August. I'm sure lots of you are on holiday or at Edinburgh. And like I said, if you are at Edinburgh, do post in the comments, let us know what show you're in or what show you've seen that's brilliant. Let's have some recommendations going for anyone going up to Edinburgh. Fab, cool. So emotional freedom. So I want to talk about the emotional freedom technique. So previously we've talked a lot about what we're thinking and how our thoughts affect our feelings. Literally the chemistry in your blood is being generated by the thoughts we're having. So often we're okay in the now, but we're imagining something that happened in the past that was negative, or we're worrying about something in the future. And that thinking creates a feeling in the body that's unpleasant and uncomfortable, yeah? So worry or anxiety. But usually it's not necessarily in the now, it's something that's imagined, either future or past. And so, or if we think right now, something negative about ourselves, then when again we're going to start to feel the negativity. There's what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls the thought feeling loop. Yeah, so you have the thought that that maybe you're not good enough, or that this audition's not going to go well, and then you feel nervous, and then you sort of think, why am I nervous? Well, because I think I'm not good enough, and you get the thought feeling loop. So one of the things we've talked about quite a lot here is affirmations, changing the thought, catching yourself thinking. That internal monologue, really important, because that's creating your feelings, which impacts your behavior, the choices that you make, and therefore your life is a collection of the behaviors you take, the habits that builds up your life. So we've talked about the thought and how to change thoughts with affirmations and why we should do so. But sometimes there's not actually a thought first. The feeling is there. The feeling is there first, and we think, what? Because I always say to myself, as soon as I start to feel uncomfortable, what was I just thinking? Because sometimes I can catch the negative thought pattern before it spirals. So what was I just thinking? Oh, I was worrying this, or I was imagining that, or I was thinking back about criticizing myself for this or the other. If I feel uncomfortable, first thing I do is say, what was I thinking? But sometimes you think, I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking anything, because sometimes an emotion is trapped in the physical body, in the energetic body, and doesn't have a narrative. If things are just emotionally stuck in the body, then we need a different technique. And emotional freedom technique is one of many sort of energy techniques. It uses acupressure points, but there are other energy techniques like Psych K. I was talking about one the other day, involves sort of physically shaking out the body, which is what animals do to recover from the sort of adrenaline of stress. Um, but yeah, so emotional freedom technique. What I love about emotional freedom technique, also called tapping, because it involves tapping on various acupressure points while saying a negative mantra, yeah, getting you into explaining the state you're currently in, whatever you're worrying about. And you make sure you really bring that energy into the body by kind of going, oh, I'm really worried about this, I'm really nervous about it. And then it moves to clear that and then put in a positive. So sometimes people feel a bit nervous when you start with a negative, but I like to think of it as, how sometimes one of the best ways to relax your muscles is to tense them all first. It's quite a good exercise where you're lying down, you're semi-supine or whatever, and bit by bit you tense and release all your different muscles. Because after you've tensed them, you relax even more, because you're kind of, I don't know why you're going from one extreme to the other, or you're sort of paying attention to tightening it and then releasing it. And this is sort of the mantra or emotional equivalent. Yeah, you bring up the negative emotion, you're feeling it anyway, but you're sort of verbalizing it and kind of dwelling on it, sort of, to bring it into the body, and then you're using tapping to clear it. Now, so what I love about it, it's free. There's loads of videos on YouTube, but I'm going to give you a good recommendation. I'm not an EFT practitioner yet, but I'm really hoping to train in this later in the year, because I just have found it so valuable for myself. So it's completely free to do. you can go and see a practitioner, but there are loads of YouTube videos. It's completely free, and once you've kind of learnt it and watched a few, you can sort of just make up your own, and so it's portable. Yeah, you could do this in an audition, not in the room, but like the room before the room. There are no side effects. It's not a drug. You're just tapping on yourself. It's just using affirmations. So there's really no downside other than that, if someone saw you doing it, they might think it looked a bit silly if they didn't understand what you were doing. But we're actors, so we don't tend to care about looking silly, because that's sort of sometimes part of the job. Very hard to be an actor if you take yourself so seriously that you're afraid of the silliness. So no, sometimes we have to have a bit of silliness, but this is silliness for a really good cause. Don't let it hold you back. So I am going to put in a link of a guy called Brad Yates, who's an American. He was an actor. And now he's an EFT practitioner. And I just think he leaves lots of space after, because you're repeating what he says, copying and repeating essentially. He leaves a lot of space for you to do that, and some people don't. I also think he's got a very good sense of humor about things, and he's very pragmatic. So I think he's got a nice way of dealing with things. You may find someone else who works for you, and that's cool, but I'm just going to start you off with, a fellow actor, and someone that I think that you might resonate with. So yeah, I'm going to put his explanation of what EFT is, emotional freedom technique, tapping. And I'm going to put one of his videos on, I think, clearing anxiety, just to kind of get you started. But you can literally go into YouTube and put in EFT or tapping, anxiety, nerves, grief, depression, insomnia, wanting to feel good, all sorts of things you can use. If anything that you got emotionally stuck about and you want to just clear it. And sometimes it takes more, it's a progress thing. You might do like a 5-minute, 10-minute tapping session and need to, rinse and repeat, which is something Brad uses, which I quite like, rinse and repeat. So you sort of rank yourself on, how stressed do I feel from 0 to 10? You do a round of tapping, see if that's reduced, that number between 0 and 10, self-assess. And sometimes I've just cleared things instantly, and other times I need to tap on something else, because certain emotions like depression, they're complex. There can be layers of grief and anger and sadness and all sorts of things linked into what we might sort of perceive as depression or being stuck in that kind of low mood. So some things obviously are a bit more complicated. And like I say, I'm not an EFT practitioner, but I know that sometimes we don't have the time or the money to go and see people. And so it's just really nice to see if there are some portable tools that we can have in our toolkit that we can use in our life, in auditions, like the power pose, other things we've talked about. And affirmations are great for changing our thinking, and are really great also for sort of setting an intention about, like a manifestation intention. But sometimes we just need a bit more of a clear, because if we're blocked in the body somehow, that can impact some of those other positive things happening, if that makes sense. We're intending this one thing, but the body's kind of saying no, because I'm holding on to something else. So emotional freedom technique, if you've not heard about it, give it a try. Be open-minded, and if you have tried it before and you think, oh yeah, I've forgotten about that, then hopefully this is a helpful reminder. So I'm going to put some links in below. I found it really useful, so basically just sharing stuff that I find useful with you guys, in the hope that it won't be every video that's right for you, but just every now and then there might be one thing that just clicks for you and makes a big difference, and that's when it will count. Cool. Lovely. I will see you. It's Bank Holiday Monday. So, I think I'll still do a video. 6 o'clock should be okay. Should still do a video. Okay, fab. See you next week. Bye.